ICT transcends all sectors, and so what we are doing, we're actually entrenching its role as an enabler. So we're going to increase the perception of ICT and the implementation of ICT as an enabler in industry.
Connected Kenya Summit is an annual event hosted by the Kenya ICT Board in conjunction with the industry players and key government decision makers. The summit's aim is to establish a platform for collaboration, capacity building, and priority sharing between government and IT sector. This year's summit was held at the White Sands Hotel Mombasa between the 27th and 29th of May 2013.
This year's theme is titled The County Citizen Served, and it's a focus on devolution. It's a focus on how ICT can be a driver of supporting the government's agenda to improve county competency and county governance.
The beauty about this ICT conference this year is that it has built the dissemination of information for the sake of developing the outcomes and making sure we have a monitoring and evaluation after that.
What we hope to see this time round is deep engagements, conversations with the public sector that can help both of us engage better for the future year.
To understand and align with what the government is planning to do over the next 5 years, we have read the Jubilee Manifesto. There are a lot of expectations from the citizens, and IT plays a very key and important role in driving some of these initiatives.
This is a very good summit to help each other and to improve the ICT, let's say, infrastructure or ICT solutions in Kenya, and also to give some big contribution for the economic growth for this country.
I see it as a very good forum whereby leaders in the public sector and ICT players like ourselves meet and explore ways in which the central government and now the devolved government can take advantage or use ICT in order to be able to accelerate and to improve governance.
It's a great opportunity for both the public sector as well as the private sector to get together, exchange ideas, talk about areas where we can all improve through the use of technology.
The summit kicked off with the registration for the conference and golf playoffs. The sponsors held Innovation Pavilion and exhibitions.
Kenya, as it is a big hub for ICT, and we are expecting quite a bit. All the big players are in the market, and it's good to know that everybody is here.
We think it's a great opportunity for the public sector and the private sector to come together and hopefully help with driving the public sector agenda.
I'm hoping that we'll leave here with some really clear direction on how we're going to go. I know this is building on events that have been in the past. We've now got the elections out of the way, the new counties are here, we're now looking at how we can connect the counties and the citizens beyond there.
It's about how the national government and the county government, who are independent but interdependent, are going to work together, and how we can use technology to enable that working relationship together. And then, of course, the private sector are the ones who provide the solutions to put all of this together.
My expectation is to network, to meet people, like-minded people that are thinking about how to deliver service to customers, both in the private sector and the public sector.
We'd like to welcome you all to Mombasa for the Connected Kenya 2013.
The outgoing CEO of Kenya ICT Board, Paul Kukubo, led the conference and the plenary sessions began.
I think what you find within government is that there is a lot of duplication. We tend to have similar functions in each and every ministry, each and every department. And our hope is that at some point we can set up these centers of excellence and consolidate. With consolidation comes efficiency, comes savings in terms of cost. And in areas where organizations or departments within government do not have the capacity to set up their own, for instance, IT departments, finance departments, etc., they can leverage these shared services centers.
Today, there's a lot of very high expectation from the citizens. They expect better services from the government, and they expect to see a difference. However, I think from what I've seen from the few days that the governors have been in power, I think the citizen might be disappointed because probably all the counties are all trying to do things their way. And the way I see it is in 5 years, we'll probably go back to the drawing board and say, wait a minute, was this the right thing? Did we transfer a problem from the central government to the counties?
In mining, especially where we're going with petroleum and those sorts of industries, it's now much easier to deal with a lot fewer people. One geologist with a good piece of software, with a good piece of kit, will be able to do what perhaps 20 years ago 10 people needed to do. Again, how do you balance what people are expecting out of this new industry, petroleum, coal, and all the rest, in terms of providing jobs, to what is actually the reality that companies will come and say, we want to employ 10 people, and not the 1,000 people that you expected?
The most important thing is the transparency in it. One is the transparency in geology, to know what is in the ground, what is available to be mined. And then the second thing is the licensing aspect of it, the transparency in dishing out the concessions. How are we dishing it out? Is it to friends and to a few people, or do we dish it out through a transparent and maybe a tendering system?
One of the greatest innovations of our new constitutional framework is the requirement of state agencies, government, to share information with the public for several reasons. One is, of course, that data and ability of citizens to access data ensures accountability, the building of accountability mechanisms. So if you want a country where leaders, governors are held to account, the citizens need information, because without information, they're able to see what is the basis of decisions. When decisions go wrong, all the information is available.
I think we have what I may describe as the most important ingredient to move forward, namely the political will that is manifest clearly in the leadership of the country, that is so determined that that is the way we are going to go, and that's how government is going to be organized. Now, with that, it is not going to be hard to achieve what we have outlined we want to achieve. It may take time. We want a very robust public-private partnership to support us in this consolidation as we go forward, because industry asks for it. Government is now willing to provide it. It's time for the sector to step forward and put their money where, you know what? Yeah, so the question is, let's move forward together. I am so convinced, I can tell you for sure, I am so convinced it's going to happen.
We hope that whatever was said today is going to be translated into action. So far, we have no reason to doubt, especially the commitment of the ministers. They're called secretaries. Yeah, they are really committed, and it was very inspiring to see how focused they are in using ICT in delivering the promises that were given during the election campaigns.
Coming here last year and coming here this year, the immense differences are now we have a new constitution, we have a new government, we have a new structure of government, but interesting enough, the issues are still the same. I hope tomorrow we're going to focus more about execution and move away a little bit away from the policy issues and focus more on what do we really need to do to achieve our objectives.
There's a lot of interaction with participants in terms of what the county opportunities are. Who knew that we had a national cadastre for mining, for example, that we could tap into to understand our counties better? So I think today has contributed to a very expansive understanding of what the county can be and what the county should be.
There are three main players in promoting enterprise. There is industry, clearly. There is government. But what we need to build in Kenya is academia, the role of academia in evolving the industries of the future.
Currently, we're working closely with Teacher Service Commission. You've heard that it is their mandate to ensure that the teachers have the skills. So it's not just the skills of ICT, but how do they integrate ICT into the lessons so that the students receive quality education.
We have developed a master plan in conjunction with the ICT Board of Kenya. We have also rolled out HMIS, it's 1 week old, and we are planning to get connected even to the wards so that we can reduce the paperwork for the nurses. The nurses are going to be having tablets as they do their rounds with the doctors, and they can be able to communicate so that we are going to make decisions on time. And we are also going to mentor other nurses, other doctors in the counties, because we are the people who are expected to give direction.
As a first step in establishing what infrastructure is required, one needs to look at what services and what functions the counties are tasked with delivering. And I think there needs to be a different approach to the provision of ICT infrastructure. Our experience is that there tends to be a lot of focus on the hardware and networking components, and that only after that infrastructure has been in place is there any thought or consideration to the kind of services that need to be delivered. And our suggestion would be that as a first step, one considers what kind of service delivery architecture needs to be put in place, and that will then determine what kind of infrastructure is required, and in turn, what methods can be used to deliver that infrastructure, whether it's through a cloud, whether it's through shared services, etc.
From the last 2 days, how does the industry look? Are we ready to do the sort of things that we're promising to do?
What's been happening the last few days has really driven home the idea that there really needs to be big thinking around how does Kenya really truly become an ICT hub in Africa. Like, you know, there's a lot of buzz about it. What does that truly mean? And how do we actually look at serving citizens, right? This is kind of the overall theme of this. And I think that we really started to hit on some really kind of bigger thinking. And I think that's what's been interesting to see, because I'm not convinced that many other markets in Africa are doing that. So I think Kenya has a really good chance, if we look at the plans that we have over the next 5, 10, 15 years, to really make that something substantial from everybody from the citizen level, investors, small companies, entrepreneurs, and as well as from a government perspective in what it's trying to do in terms of increased accountability and transparency.
Innovation in tourism.
And the winner is Kenya Birth Limited.
Winning participants in various categories won awards.
Can we have a hand for Kenya Buzz?
Congratulations.
And I believe that's 2 for the afternoon. A bigger hand, a double winner.
Look, we try to understand one another because we take that difference more.
Kwa uchungu na mateso, kwa vilio na huzuni, tulinyakuliwa uhuru na mashujaa wa zamani. Hawakushtushwa na risasi au kufungwa gerezani. vunja pingu za ukoloni.
Jambo bwana, habari gani nzuri sana.
There was entertainment throughout the conference period.
Kenya yetu hakuna matata, nchi yenye wanyama hakuna matata, kuna tumbili na iswara hakuna matata.
At the end of each day, different companies sponsored cocktails and dinners.
I love you, love me, I love you, let us go. Love you, love me, I love you, let us go. Let us go. Where are we going? Go. I love you, let us go. Okay, now everybody try this. Very simple. Soma, kijana, masiku zazidi badilika. Kijana, soma, kijana, masiku zazidi badilika. Kijana, wazuri wazidi kuzaliwa, na dunia nayo yazidi haribika. Kijana, wazuri wazidi kuzaliwa, na dunia nayo yazidi haribika.
I have to commend whoever organized this one. It was well organized. You brought also, facilitators of a high quality, and everyone took the whole issue on a serious note. And we need more like this, because we are saying the world is a global village. Everybody's supposed to be closer to one another.
Everyone discussed the things that we really needed to be discussed and were brought out. And from here we have solutions for the counties, and we hope that the counties were going to follow up with us so that we can connect them to the solution providers and we can help them.
We are hoping to see maybe the Kenyan government develop its own private crowd like the way what the government has done. So it was a good conference.
IT and the ICT industry in Kenya has reached, I think, an exciting level of maturity. It's also a challenging time. And a lot of work is going to be required. There's going to be a lot of coordination, and clear and strong coordination needed.
It met the objectives that it set out, which was to be a forum in which the private sector and public sector would engage on matters ICT. I think it remains probably one of the best attended events of its kind, probably even on the continent.
ICT is the future. Everything is becoming an e-platform altogether, be it e-health, e-education, e-commerce, the works. Everything is becoming electronic. So at the end of the day, every company or every entity in the ICT sector has to be able to provide the necessary support to realize that agenda.